Hi guys, welcome back. I know it's been a while. It's been a few weeks at least. I didn't mean to disappear, but it has been very difficult for me to make any videos lately. I have been wanting to. I haven't been able to do private reads. It's just really hard for me to do anything really with Momo around. Momo is my youngest son and his girlfriend's puppy that they purchased back in December. He's about 5 months old now, and he really kind of belongs to my son's girlfriend, but he spends, I'd say, about 98% of his time at our house, which is fine because I love him. But he is a mini dachshund, and he is very much a dachshund in the fact that he has to be around you 24/7, literally. So I can be sitting on the couch with him, and he's sound asleep, and I'll get up, I'll creep out of the couch really slowly and softly, or at least I think I am, to try to go to the bathroom or to go get a drink out of the kitchen or whatever, and he wakes right up and he comes right down his steps and he follows me wherever I go. If it's in the bathroom, he comes into the bathroom and he lays at my feet. So he's not one of those dogs where you can just kind of go on about your day and he's just laying over in his favorite spot sleeping. He doesn't do that. A lot of times he won't even sleep anywhere but on you. So sometimes, depending on his mood, he has to be right on your lap. So it's really hard and challenging to do videos because I have that area of the house blocked off with a baby gate because of all the stuff he would try to eat, packing peanuts, all that good stuff. And so when I have tried to go in there to pack orders or something like that, he just sits at the gate and he stares and he whines and he barks. And that's even when my son is home. So usually I have to just ignore it when my son is home. If I'm with him and my son's at work, because I pretty much am with him every day, all day until my son gets home from work in the afternoon. So if my son is home, I know that he's at least being watched and he's safe. If he whines and cries at the gate, so be it. I have to pack orders, I have to do things. But if my son isn't home, I don't like to do that. And then on top of that, it's just like having a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old in the house, because if he does by chance happen to leave and he's quiet, then I know he's getting into something. So I have to stop and go see what he's doing. And usually he's chewing on a cord or pooping or peeing. He's doing really good on the potty training. I would say that he has an accident maybe a couple times a week, but for the most part, now that the weather is getting a lot better, we've been going outside quite a bit. And he really doesn't have any opportunity to have accidents unless one of, maybe I didn't stay out long enough or I didn't go out as soon as I need. It's usually our fault pretty much if he does have an accident, but he's doing really good. I no longer have to use the puppy pads, so that's good. But he does still have an accident, and if I were in my work area doing something and he goes off, that's going to be his accident time. He's going to take that opportunity to go poop in the hallway or pee in the hallway and get into something that he knows he usually can't do. So I haven't really had an opportunity. And then the other weekend, my son went out of town. He went to Chicago. We're in Indiana, so we're about an hour and a half away from Chicago. So the boys will go into Chicago sometimes for shows or games or whatever. And so my youngest son was out of town for 2 nights, and so I had Momo 24/7, all me, and I am still wiped out from it. I am exhausted. So he, like I said, he has to sleep with you, and sleeping in our bed is not an option. So I asked my son, I said, well, is it okay if I sleep in your bed? That way he can still have his routine. And my son's like, yeah, go ahead. So I ended up sleeping in my son's bed for 2 nights, just so Momo could have his usual bedtime routine. And it's like when you're not in your own bed. I mean, I had my pillow, but the mattress was different. It just was a mess. So I'm still kind of tired and worn out from that. But that's what's been going on. And then I haven't really been posting any videos of Momo because my son did ask that I not. So I am going to respect my son's wishes and not post on Momo, even though I love posting little short videos of Momo. So that's that. And you know, I really haven't had much to update you guys on. So I haven't made any car chat videos either. So, but anyway, yesterday my son's girlfriend came by and picked up Momo, and I think she'll have him for a couple of days. I think, because my son did go there today. So I am wondering if my son's going to come back with Momo. Probably. That's my guess. That's my feeling. That's my hunch. And I'm trying to make wax melts. I need to restock on some of my fragrances that I have been meaning to get up and have not. So I need to do that and make some wax melt samples. And if he doesn't come back tonight, I'm hoping to do a video tomorrow. So that's the plan. And I've had to kind of like readjust my sleep schedule because my son has to be to work at 8 in the morning. And so I get up at 7:30 so that I can, you know, be up with Momo. I will sometimes lay back down on the sofa and just kind of nap when I get tired. But he is getting older, and so his napping schedule has decreased quite rapidly. He used to sleep for about 2 hours for a mid-morning nap. That's like 30 minutes now. So he doesn't sleep like he used to. And like I said, I can't take my eyes off of him. So yeah, so that's what's been going on. I haven't watched anything on YouTube as far as any of the true crime in weeks. I actually was recommended to watch the TV series The Chosen. And if you're not familiar with The Chosen, I implore you to check it out because it is so good. It is the story of Jesus Christ, and it brings the stories in the Bible alive. It brings the apostles alive, and it humanizes them. I mean, they were humans, but when we read these stories, or at least for me, when I read these stories in the Bible, it's almost as if I forget that they were actually regular human beings like you and I. And this show really brings them to life. You get to know these apostles. You get to know Jesus, just not reading these stories, but the way that they've done this show and put it together, the actors that they have, I just absolutely love it. And so you can watch The Chosen for free on the app. All you have to do is go to your app store and type in The Chosen, and you can download it. It's absolutely free. It has all the seasons on there. And I think right now there's 3 seasons. Well, I know there's 3 seasons, and a 4th season is supposed to be coming out this December, so December of 2023. I've ended up binging all 3 seasons in probably about 4 days, and then right now they have a little extra section where you can watch like Bible talks, like table talks with the producer or the writer, and I think there's an evangelist pastor, there's a Jewish rabbi, and a Catholic priest that they went to for help while writing this show. And so they have like this Bible table talk, and it's kind of like a behind the scenes, and so that's what I'm watching right now. I will probably watch it again because it was so good. 3 seasons are so good. It's so good. I really, really do recommend you guys watch it. If you're into that, if you're open to that, I absolutely recommend it. I am absolutely a believer in Jesus Christ. No doubt about it. I know that that sounds maybe a little odd to some of you given the fact that I do read tarot cards, but absolutely I pray to one God and one God only. You know, that's just my personal belief, and I do realize at the end of the day that those tarot cards that are sitting on the table that I use are truly cardstock with images on them. Okay, it is really gifts that come from God, that come from, you know, the creator, whatever you want to refer to God as, you know, Jesus. That's where all that power comes from. Without that, those cards are absolutely nothing. I believe that we all have intuition. We all have a gift of intuition. It's just that we have a tendency to block it out and not listen. But how many times well, let me go in and drop these orders off, and then I'll be back. So I guess I was talking about intuition, and I know in the Bible it does say in several different places. In particular, I believe, I don't know the verse, I don't know the exact chapter, but I think that Corinthians and Deuteronomy both talk about witchcraft and divination. And so there was a time a couple of years ago that I really battled spiritually with reading tarot cards, because I do believe in Jesus Christ. And so, that was a struggle for me. But I try to be as honest as I can. I try to be, I'm not a big believer in, I do believe that people have gifts, no doubt about it. I think that we all have intuition, and that intuition can be developed and it can grow. I think that we have a tendency to close off our intuition, our third eye, so to speak. When we're born, we forget what skills we have, and we are told from a very young age to, not really believe in those sorts of things. And so, I think a lot of people just kind of shut that third eye down, but we all have it. And like I said, it can be developed. So I try to, I make sure that, I decided at that time, a couple of years ago, that at that time, before I start my reading or any reading, I do pray to Jesus. I do pray to God. Just one, I'm not a big believer. I'm not a believer at all in, multiple gods. And so I do believe that God created the heavens and the earth, just like it says in the Bible. And so I pray to him, my God, our God, I believe, and I ask for protection. I absolutely believe in evil. I believe in Satan. I think that Satan works through many, many things, in many, many ways, very creative, very sneaky, very clever, and is always, trying to, do what he can to get us to, be on his side. And sometimes we are, and we don't even realize it. That's the sneaky part about it. And I think when you are doing things like tarot cards and divination, it can be really that fine line of, just trusting in Jesus and knowing that you are protected and that you're not doing anything with ill will or ill intention, because I'm a big believer in the law of attraction. What you put out is what you receive. So if you're doing it with, something that isn't good in mind, then it's not going to be a good read. I often, when I do private reads, I try to steer away from, saying that this is definitely going to happen to you this year. I don't know what's going to happen to you or anybody this year. Based on the cards that come out, we can look at it as, okay, these are some options. These are some things that may or may not occur based on your actions. So, for example, if a person is struggling financially, but they have a spending habit that is beyond their means, and you don't even need tarot cards to really, give this person advice. But more than likely, tarot cards like the devil or some form of pentacle card will come out, and you can say to that person, I can say to that person, if you don't change your ways, if you don't rein in your spending, your problems, your financial problems, your current financial problems will most likely continue. That's just common sense. Okay, so but I believe that tarot is a really good way of reminding all of us that you do have the ability to change. You can change your circumstances. It's not easy to change your circumstances, but it can be done. I believe we all have free will, but I do think that there is a path or a destination for all of us. I feel like we come in with sort of a soul contract, and we have different options or roads that we can take to get to that final destination. Okay, that's where the free will comes in, I believe. whatever we're meant to do, we can choose to get there, X, Y, or Z. And, it's up to us whether we choose to take the easy path, the hard path, the in-between path. Maybe there's lessons to be learned along the way. So, it just so happens that, maybe we choose to take the hard path for those lessons. I'm not sure, but I do believe that we can definitely use the tarot cards to look at our current circumstances and see what we need to change, if anything, and most likely there is something that we can all change for sure, but what we need to change, what's going on, what's the cause of it, how can we change, how can we look at things from a different perspective, and this is, or these are your potential outcomes. I don't believe that, I don't think it's right if a reader were to say, tomorrow you're going to go out and you're going to, trip over a rock and you're going to break your foot. Or tomorrow you're going to go out and you're going to buy a lottery ticket and you're going to be a big winner. No, that's not how I view the cards, and that's not how I use the cards. And so I have struggled in the past. Hold on, let me run into the gas station really quick and I'll be back. All right, I'm not sure what I was saying, but I believe I was talking about what I try to use the cards for. A couple years ago, I had this dilemma. I was spiritually conflicted, and I think I've been finding myself in that same situation again recently. After my mom passed, I tried to go back to, just trying to find answers to make sure that she was okay. I think that that's natural when we lose someone that we love. Wanting to make sure that, yes, they are in heaven, they're safe and sound, they're okay, they're with Jesus, they're with their, their loved ones, their relatives, their pets. And so I kind of fall back into really trying to, read the Bible every day and just kind of pick up where I left off a couple of years ago. And, I feel like I'm back at that kind of conflict. I'm really having a Two of Wands moment here. But I don't know, guys. I'm having that moment right now, and that is another reason why I haven't been putting out any videos, is because of that. I've been struggling spiritually because I don't want to do anything that I shouldn't be doing. So a couple of years ago when I went through this, I really, really tried hard at that point to make sure that when I was reading, to the best of my ability, morally and with integrity and with honesty. And at one point I had this conversation with a subscriber. This is probably maybe about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. I had expressed this to a subscriber via email, and I mentioned that I wasn't sure if I wanted to continue to read on true crime, because these people are not coming to me for a private reading. They're not asking to have their loved ones read on, or they're not asking to be read on. And so I have kind of struggled with that. Is it appropriate? Because, it's one thing if somebody comes to you and says, hey, can you do, whatever on a relative that's missing? Absolutely, I'll do it. But it's another thing when, a family member turns on their YouTube channel and they see all these random tarot readers or psychics or mediums, talking about their child or a loved one. They may not like that. They may not like that. And so I expressed that concern to this subscriber, and she mentioned perhaps maybe doing readings on different things, whether it be urban legends or, celebrities, even things like that. By celebrities, I mean like unsolved mystery type things. And so even with that, it can kind of cross the line into true crime. And so I attempted to do that, but I completely fell back into the true crime genre. And that is kind of what I like. That's what I'm drawn to. That's what I'm interested in. And so I just kind of continued on and just pushed those concerns that I had spiritually under the rug and just went on about my business, and that was that. And here I am about a year and a half later, and I'm finding myself in the same boat. And so I'm trying to figure out how it is that I want to go forward. So that's where I'm at. That's the debate that I'm having. I don't know. I welcome your guys' thoughts, opinions, advice. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah. And one of the things, like I said, I started going on this path again. I think there's still something wrong with my front left tire or my front left end of my car. I just had, a lot of some of you may know, that I just had a shit ton of work done to my front end of my car. I had my right and left arm was broken. I had those replaced. I had my tie rod replaced. And there was something else. And then as soon as I picked up the car, I went right across the street to Discount Tire and got 4 brand new tires. And I thought that my car was in ship shape after that. And I drove it one day, and all of a sudden I could hear in the front left kind of like a bump, 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 bump. And I don't feel any shaking in my steering wheel or anything, and the tire isn't shaking, but there's still something wrong. So I apologize if you guys can hear that. Hopefully my tire doesn't fall off while I'm driving. But anyway, I lost my train of thought now. What was I saying? Yeah, so I'm kind of at that level of trying to figure out how to go forward. I enjoy reading tarot cards. I love reading tarot cards, but it is one of those things where you hold the power in your own hands. You have the power in your own hands. A lot of times I notice when people come to me for a private read, they're looking for almost like a validation of their feelings or a confirmation of things that they already know the answers to. And so, not to discourage anybody from getting a tarot reading, because I think sometimes you just need to verbally hear it from someone else, especially a stranger. And so, it can do wonders for people. But it is, I think, a lot of the information that you receive is things that you know within you already. You just needed to hear it, and you just needed to hear it confirmed by someone else. I just got my train of thought back, and now it left again. Oh, what led me to this spiritual kind of journey that I'm on right now. I hate using that term because it's so cliche, but when my mom passed away, back in December, it was December 12th, the early morning hours of December 12th, 3:30 a.m., I had the privilege of being there with her. And my aunt, one of my aunts, was there with her as well. So it was her and I there, and she was on one side of the bed and I was on the other, and I was holding my mom's hand and rubbing her forehead, and we were talking to her, we were talking to each other. And when she passed away, I didn't know. I didn't know she had passed away. My aunt, she knew. She said, she's gone. And I said, are you sure? And she said, yeah. And I'm like, well, how can you tell? Because are you sure? She's like, yeah. And I refused to reach out to my sisters until I had confirmation from the nurses. And so we ended up paging them or hitting the button, and they came in a few minutes later and they checked her vital signs, and sure enough, she had gone. And I often look back on that and I'm like, why didn't I know? How didn't I know? Why did I feel that I needed confirmation from the nurses to know that my mom had passed away? Why didn't I feel something? Why didn't I sense something? And to be honest with you, I actually fully expected, because we kind of had an idea that she would pass that night, although we weren't sure. And so I fully expected to think that maybe when she did pass, that I would see something, that I would have this profound spiritual experience where I would see, I don't know, I guess I thought it was going to be like how it is on TV, where I thought I would see my dad. My dad's been gone for 16 years now. I guess I assumed that I would see my dad come from the ceiling of the room in a cloud, and I would see, you know, the lights and things like that, and angels. I don't know what I expected, but I expected something. And I didn't get anything. Nothing. I didn't even feel that she was gone. So that really made me question spirituality, period. So when I left that morning, I thought to myself, why didn't I sense something? Why wasn't I able to see something, feel something, smell something, hear something? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It was dead silence. I didn't even know. I didn't even feel it in my heart that she was gone. Maybe I did, but I don't know yet. I don't know. I don't think so. I wasn't sure. I really wasn't sure. And so I really wanted to know. I asked my mom for a sign. I said, could you please let me know that you're okay? Could you please let me know that you're where you are supposed to be, that you are with Jesus, you are with your family, you are with your pets, your friends. You're okay. You're okay. Any kind of trauma or pain or hurt that you experienced on this earth, that has been cleansed away, and you are nothing but filled with joy, love, happiness, forgiveness, and, you know, whatever wonderful feelings that we have on the other side. And so I wanted a sign right then and there. You know, I was expecting something to fall off of a table, or, you know, maybe even see her or hear audibly something, an answer to my question, and nothing. I received nothing. But then shortly after that, I started going back to reading the Bible and just kind of doing my own type of spiritual stuff. And you know, a family member recommended watching The Chosen, and that really kind of made a profound impact on me, and you know, it just kind of brought these people to life. And it's interesting because, you know, we have to remember that even the apostles were just regular folks like you and I, that they made mistakes. They weren't perfect. You know, as human beings, we're not perfect, and they struggled in their faith. Simon Peter being one of them. You know, after all these miracles that Jesus had performed in front of them, they still had a tendency to, you know, doubt, right? Have doubt in the fact that he was, in fact, the Messiah. And, you know, they're still considered the apostles. And Jesus was patient with them. He you know, he didn't kick them out of the group or anything like that. He just kept proving himself over and over and over and over again. And so it reminded me of that, watching that show and reading the Bible and kind of flipping through. I'm not reading it front to back or anything like that. I'm just kind of flipping through and reading what I'm drawn to. But it reminded me of that. And it reminded me to not necessarily test God. You know, it's about having faith, right? Before that's what faith is. It's believing before seeing, not seeing to believe, right? And so I really, in my heart of hearts, I felt like she had given me a sign, but she had pointed me towards spirituality to get that sign or to get that answer. And I feel confident right now to say, I believe that my mom is home. She went back home. She's with my dad. She's with everyone else, that she's, you know, her family, friends, you know, past relatives that maybe she didn't know in this lifetime, but she is back home. She's back home with Jesus, and she's okay. And I need to have faith in that. I need to be able to believe in that. I don't necessarily need to test God, and I shouldn't have to test God and say, give me proof or I won't believe, because that's not the way it works. So it kind of led me on this journey, and, you know, that's, like I said earlier, that's kind of where I'm at right now. But anyway, Yeah, so I don't know, guys. You can let me know. We live in a home where there's 5 of us, and we all have different spiritual beliefs. My children, who are 20, 25, and 27, are very more aligned scientifically. They have, my oldest son, for example, he does believe in, I have a very strict belief, or a strong belief, that when we take our last breath here on earth, we take our first breath in the next world, and we continue on. Our essence, our consciousness of who we are continues. We don't necessarily have our physical body, this vessel that we have here. We don't carry that over, but we are who we are, even over there. And, my oldest son is really, he doesn't believe in that. He is the type that believes that we, when we die, maybe our energy made some sort of an impact as far as, wavelengths, and, then our body decays in the ground, and that fertilizes the ground and flowers. He's looking at it like that. Not in a sense of where I kind of see things. My other 2 boys, they are really, I would say, they're very, very scientific. Everything is all about cells and atoms and things like that. And I'm not denying that those things are real and they exist, but I do believe that there's more to it than what we can even comprehend as human beings. I think that our brain, our physical body, and our brain and our ego, they prohibit us from knowing or understanding everything that there is to understand. And that's just the way it is. That's just the human experience. And I do believe that when we cross over, when we transition, we will be able to understand things that we wouldn't even consider here in our earthly body, because we are bound by ego, by the brain, by the body. We have this restraint. And so, I don't know, I feel like I'm rambling at this point, but I guess I needed to get this out. And I don't think I've ever shared with you guys my religious background or my beliefs. So, at least you guys will maybe have a better idea. And you can agree, disagree. I'm not one to say that you got to do this or you should believe in that. Like I said, my 3 boys are completely different, and we have discussions all the time. I respect their decisions and their choices and their belief systems. I never grew up going to church. Spirituality is something that I kind of became interested in as an adult, and didn't really know anything about anything. Didn't grow up in that kind of a home. And we are not the type of family that, attends church. I don't believe that you have to go to a particular spot to talk or have a relationship with God. You can have a relationship with God from your car, from your home, anywhere. Okay. I will often pray or talk to God when I'm doing dishes or just sitting on the couch. And if I'm struggling with something, I will just have a regular conversation. Recently, I've found a good time doing it is when I'm out walking Momo. So I'm out, and, whatever is going on, at that time, that's a good time for me. I'm outside, I'm in nature, and I can just have a conversation with God, and I can let it all out. I try to have gratitude every day, but I have a lot of requests, and so I'm always asking for things. I feel bad about that, but, I feel like God is loving and God is forgiving. My views on religion are just that I feel like human beings make religion complicated. We make it so much more complicated than it really is. I think that it really doesn't matter what your specific religion is that you identify as or, are, whether it's, Catholic, whether it's Jewish or, whatever, Muslim. I don't really feel like it matters. I think that I don't think it matters. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to who we are as people, our compassion for others, the way we, how we help others, if we can help them, to help them, how we are loving and kind to each other. And if you realize that everybody else is the same as you, everyone else is the same as you, I think that you're going to be okay. I really do. That's my deep, deep, deep soul belief. I don't care if you're Muslim. I don't care if you're this, you're that, Catholic, Christian, whatever, even atheist. And that may go against a lot of Christians. So I don't even really identify as a Christian per se, or at least a traditional Christian, because that might not be maybe looked at as okay. But I feel like it's okay. I respect everybody's decision to be whatever it is that you want to be. But I think the key at the end of the day is to just treat other people kindly and considerately and compassionately, and to know that we are all the same. We are all cut from the same cloth. We all come from the same creator. We're all one. We're all related. We're in this together. We're in this thing called life. We cross each other's paths for one reason or another. We have our family members. We have our soul family. We have the people that we make huge impacts on, and people who make huge impacts on us. And then we have the people that we're not so maybe connected to in that way. Somebody that you've never crossed paths with or you've never met. And maybe that's just the way it's supposed to be, but it doesn't mean that we're not connected at the end of the day, because I feel like we are all, like I said, we are all cut from the same cloth. We're all together. We all bleed the same way. We all have skin. We all have a heart. We all, we're human beings. There's no one that's above anyone else. I don't care what your status is, if you're a rapper or if you're a politician or if you're, even a priest or anything. I don't really, I know we have these hierarchies in society, but at the core level, we are all the same. And so that's, I think, what it comes down to, and how we treat each other, how we treat people. So that, I don't know. I don't know what you would call myself, or, how you would, define that or align myself to whatever. Like I said, I don't like to say Christianity, although I do believe in Jesus Christ. But I also don't feel like there's just so much conflicts, there's just, I don't know. And I feel like it's okay at the end of the day. It's okay to have these conflicts and these doubts, not doubts, but, I don't know. I don't know, guys. So I'm home. I'm going to go in and work on these wax melts and get these wax melts done and hopefully get this video up. So that's what's kind of going on in my life and in my world. And I hope everybody is doing okay and staying blessed, and I will be back shortly. So you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening to me ramble on for the last hour, and any advice you have or any thoughts or anything that you want to share, you are more than welcome to. I appreciate all of your comments. I don't always respond, but I do read them, and so I do appreciate that, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.